everyone, this is Susie and Alex. We are at the farm today in late June. We're going to give a short garden tour of what's growing here. This is a Celeste fig tree. It's one of the smaller fig trees. It was planted more than 40 years ago by Alex's grandpa. It got pruned back pretty heavily, and we're not sure if it had been fertilized, but we just started fertilizing it. We've done it twice, and look at all these figs. So they'll be ready probably late July, early August. We're very excited to try those out. This is a pomegranate tree, and I know it looks a little scraggly, but we just cut a lot of privet and invasive vines from it in late May, and look at this fruit. It is doing really, really well. More of the sun could come in and it wasn't being choked by those vines that were taking over. We also put some fertilizer. That was, I think it was around April. We put some 10-10-10, so that's obviously been doing pretty well for it. Here at the bottom is where we had tons of privet that we took out. So a few of the limbs also got damaged, so we had to cut those. And then it had those vines that were just choking the tree, and here at the top you can see the remains of some of the vines. The base is cut off, so we're hoping that the top right there, those vines just die off. This is an Asian pear tree. It was planted in the late 60s by Alex's grandpa. We haven't put any fertilizer on it, but the cows do graze in this pasture behind here, so maybe their manure has helped this tree out, which is fantastic because we also haven't trimmed it, and it has a lot of fruit on it. The Asian pear is a bit crunchy, and the fruit is when it's ripe, it's a brown color. It's actually better for baking or maybe making into a syrup so you can pour it on your pancakes rather than actually eating it, because it is a little bit tougher than a softer pear.
These are our Sculpinnongs and Muskadines. My grandfather put these out in 1969. As you can see on the sign, he loved to label stuff. So that last digit was a 9. It was hard to tell on there, but it is a 9. Anyway, look at all the foliage on these. We pruned them back, I believe it was in February. It was during the winter at least, and it was before everything came out. But this was the before picture, and you can really take these vines way back. And we're getting a little bit more aggressive every year as we have success. But whatever we did worked, because look at all this foliage. And we do it a little bit differently than a lot of people do, or most people do. Most people have it go on 2 different vines in one direction and the other, kind of like a T. We just let ours sprawl. That's how my grandfather started it. And look at all that. We get tons of fruit from it. So usually, some years different than others. This side is the Muskadines. Most of it is Sculpinnongs. And I can't even tell which is which. They're so similar. They're both in the same family of grape. And it's hard to tell what is what until they completely ripen. But this whole area here is just filled with fruit by the fall. And I think it's in August, September when they're usually finished fruiting. Most years it's around then. And it's just fun. We go down and just pick them off the vines. What we want to do this year, if we can get enough of them, we also share them with other family members, but if we can get enough for us before everybody else gets their share, we're going to try to make some Sculpinnong or a Muscadine wine and see how that goes. So here's the difference. Here's another picture coming up of what they look like. At least this was in June. And when they're starting to fruit, they're getting healthy and looking strong there. And these, I think these are the Muscadines here. So we'll see pretty soon on it. Every 45 days or so, usually ends up being closer to 2 months, we put some fertilizer on. Here I'm putting on calcium nitrate. And in the spring we put down 10-10-10 a couple of times. with the calcium nitrate, all you have to do is throw a couple of handfuls along the drip line, and you can see we are far from being precise on our measurements. But I throw some in there all along the outside of the drip line, and then I throw in a few handfuls in the middle. I did this last year too for the first time that I can remember, and it worked. So I just did the same thing again and spread it wherever I see kind of looks like it needs it.
All you have to do is water in the fertilizer like I'm doing here. And as an added bonus, these roots got tons of water because 10 minutes after I finished, the clouds opened up and we had tons of rain. So we have a lot of other things growing at the farm. We just put out an orchard video a few weeks back, and it included the pecans and apple trees. So we just did a few other things. And if you'd like to see everything we've showed you today come to mature, then please subscribe and we will give an update in the fall. Thanks for joining us.